Hello, welcome to the Paper Snob. This is Tara. Today I'm working on the Stretch the Sketch Hop. This is a monthly hop hosted by Galaxy Girl Creations. I will have her information listed below. Each month she provides us with a sketch and we are to take that sketch and stretch it. I typically use this time to create 2-page layouts, and I do have quite a few in my 2016 album to create, and so this helps me get a good start on completing those. So let me pop that sketch up here in the corner. If I have any information about the creator of this sketch, I will drop it below as well. I will also link this Hops playlist. This is a playlist that hosts, I believe, all of the videos from May on. And so I'm going to go ahead and pop that down below so that you can watch any of the videos with the different sketches that we have. So I am using my August counterfeit kit. If you watch me often, you know that I design for Counterfeit Kit Challenge blog. I am also their leader. That's not really a word that I would like to use, but I am in charge. So for the month of August, we had an inspiration kit chosen by Master Forger Jody, and it is from Sweet Shop Designs. I will link that down below as well, or maybe just the Counterfeit Kit Challenge blog post for the first of the month so that you can see what that is all about. And this is product from my August kit based upon that inspiration kit. I have pulled in a bunch of scraps that I have created so far this month, as well as some texture items, the netting, and I'm not really sure what you would call this, but it's a nice little fabric-y thing. Some frames. I have put a lot of frames in my kit this month, and so I'm going to be using these probably to layer because there are a lot of layers on that sketch. I also included some other things, some chipboard pieces, a sticker label, a half circle, some wood veneer. Like I said, I included some scraps from this kit that I have already broken down some of the pattern paper. And I've got some alpha stickers, some phrase stickers, some more labels, some more wood veneer. I pulled these gold leafy bits from Rosie Studio. Not sure if I'm going to use them, and the same with these washi tape pieces. Not sure if I'm going to use them either. I did pull in these little brad pieces. Maybe we'll use those on here, as well as some other chipboard pieces that were also in my kit. For the base of my layout, I intentionally included 2 of these for a base page, and I'm going to use these for the background on my layout. I do have a bunch of photos here that I will show you in just a second. I have some stamps and some dies because there are tags in this sketch, and so if I need to cut more tags, I will do that. Now, one of the things that I like to do when I have a 2-page layout brewing in my brain is I like to print all of the photos and then lay them out on my desktop so that I can see how they can go together. And this is kind of my thought process for this set of photos. As you can see, there's quite a few photos. There are, if I can count, there are 9 for me to choose from. I did one 4x6, the rest are all 3x4s. Now this is a word acrylic from an Ali Edwards story kit. It matches the stamp set that I just showed you. And I have said before that I have pulled apart my Ali Edwards story kit so that I can use them. And so that is one of the things that I pulled apart. I put all of the like embellishments together for me to dig through and work with. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to pause, I'm going to get started with this layout, and I hope that this layout comes together the way it looks in my head. I'll be right back. Okay, so I always seem to forget that you can't always see all the way across both sides of the area where I'm working. There were 9 photos in that first part of my video. It just was cut off because the camera didn't reach that far. So what I'm doing is I'm tearing this piece, the edges off both sides of this, because I'm going to cut it in half and I'm going to use it to make a border along the bottom with some other strips of pattern paper. So I know that I can't get it exactly even because I just tore the sides, but I'm going to get it close enough and just set it aside. So I'm going to tear about 1.5 inches to 2 inches, more like 1.5 inches, maybe 1.25 inches here for these. And I'm going to tear off a little sliver again because I want a little bit of white torn edge. I don't just want a jagged edge, if that makes any sense. I want them to look the same on both sides. And so I'm going to kind of guess how big it is here. Again, I'm going to get about 1.5 inches or so. I'm going to do the same thing with the brick, the hexagon brick paper. I'm going to make it a little bit wider. I am setting my scraps aside. I have made a humongous mess off to the side on the floor. I think I shared that on the Facebook community group, the mess that I had made creating this layout. And it was just one layout. I made a huge mess. Anyway, so I've got my pieces that I'm going to be using for the borders along the bottom of my layout. Now I realize that the sketch didn't have those, and that's okay. A sketch is, for me, a jumping off point. And that is what I'm using it for, literally just using it as a jumping off point. I'm going to add pattern paper and I'm going to add other things to it that the sketch didn't really have on it. Now remember, I am stretching the sketch, so I'm taking elements of the sketch and I'm pulling them across a double side or double page layout. And that means that it won't look exactly like the sketch because I'm stretching it. And so here is my second torn border layered with pattern paper. I love that brick paper so much. I think I have 2 sheets, which is great because I really, really, really like that torn or that brick paper. I can see some paint and some fun stuff going on with that paper at another time. So now I'm going to kind of put these on here, and because my 2 sides didn't meet exactly in the middle, I'm going to rip off just a little bit more there, and I'm going to get off that extra white bit. I've already said before, I don't like the deep white bits. It's just like a slim torn border. I don't know how to describe it other than that. So this is kind of where I'm starting, and now I'm going to grab other stuff. So what I'm doing now is I'm putting the photos onto the layout the same way that I had them on my mat at the beginning of the video. And again, I know that you can't see all the way to the right hand side, and I hope that I fixed that, but I'm kind of thinking that I just cut it off during the whole whole video. I'm sorry. You'll get a good look at what's going on that right hand side here in a little bit. So I decided to use this black and white pattern paper to mat this photo, and I'm having a little bit trouble. It seems that one side is not even, so I'm gonna move it over to the other side to cut my mat, and then I'll save that other piece. And what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to make sure I get a little bit of the same pattern paper on each side of my layout so that the layout itself looks cohesive. I am tucking this photo mat into my border, otherwise I'd be covering up that border, and I don't want to do that. And that bottom photo works because there was a lot of empty space there. Next, I'm going to start pulling in pattern paper to start layering around this other photo. This is kind of my focal photo. It is a full view of the container garden that I had in Clarksville, Tennessee when we were stationed at Fort Campbell, Kentucky. If you're not familiar with that area at all, Fort Campbell, Kentucky literally straddles both states. My husband's office was on the Tennessee side of Fort Campbell. The commissary, which was across the field from his office, was in the Kentucky side. So if you are stationed at Fort Campbell, you can get a home off post or even on post in either state, because there's residences on post on both sides of the state line. Anyway, so I am just kind of layering up bits and pieces. I took a frame and I stuck it under the bottom. I have that artesian journal, craft journal with the white outline I just stuck under there. I used one of the I don't think they're quite 4x6 cards. I'm using that to layer. I like to do that a lot with the 4x6 cards, especially if they have something that's in the middle, but they still have an edge that you can cover up the middle piece. I like to use them a lot for layering because I am just not a pocket life scrapper. I tend to use those only on my traditional pages. Now I am cutting a mat for the right hand side for the little grid of photos that I have, and I'm also cutting a little bit of the piece of paper, because remember I said that I wanted to get the patterns on both sides, and so that is kind of what I'm doing. So I'm going to go ahead and get these photos on here. I'm going to get them adhered down. Again, I don't usually glue things on camera, so I am today because I needed to do this to build the layout. I didn't feel like I could just lay things out and then go back and glue them off camera like I normally would. This one's a little bit more involved than that. Okay, once I get these photos glued down onto the mat, I'm going to do the same side with same thing as I did with the other side, and I'm going to tuck these photos down into that border because I absolutely do not want to cover up that border. I love that border and I want to make sure that you can see all of it. I'm taking a piece of that yellow pattern paper that's on the left side and I tucked it in underneath my grid of photos, and now I'm going to cut out some more of the netting. I don't know if you saw, I stuck a piece of netting underneath where my title is going to go on the left side. That netting will come in later though. Right now I am working on kind of matting this photo, and again I apologize, I am off camera. It is really hard to see when you're recording where things are laying, so I apologize. But what I'm doing is I'm taking a frame, a craft frame, one of those Polaroid frames that I showed you at the beginning, and I'm going to use it to mat the photo, and then I put pattern paper on it as well. And this is Jasper, who is saying hi to you. He is a big boy. Anyway, he likes to come and check out what Mom's doing because he's a goober like that. Now I'm pulling out some stamps here, and I'm going to do some stamping. On the sketch, there looked like there was a tag and a little bit of mixed media up on that corner, and you're not really going to get to see what I'm doing because it looks like I don't move that piece over at all. But I'm taking, it's a splotchy stamp, and I'm stamping it with a brown ink from Archival Ink 3 times, and then I'm going to probably have to move a kitty cat off my desk here in a minute. But I stamp that there, and then I get a border stamp that you can kind of see I'm pulling off. And I'm going to use that stamp, and I'm going to stamp it a couple of times up there with black ink. Originally, I thought I was going to use brown and green, but I changed my mind. There's a lot of green in the photos, and I thought that it would just be too much. So I'm going to stamp it straight up and down. know you can't see, but you'll be able to see in close-ups at the end of the video. I apologize. And then I'm going to stamp it across, kind of making a wonky X up over there. And I'm going to use that as a base to build a small tag cluster there. Now I'm going to tuck in that photo a little bit. I've got some of that, it's like a netting, it's a fabric stuff. Oh, he left on his own. I'm going to put some of that netting there, and there's a piece of blue paper there as well. All right, unfortunately, I am trying to build up on that right-hand side of the page where you really can't see much of what I'm doing. I am tucking one of the 4x6 cards. I'm bringing in this chipboard piece that I wanted to use for my journaling. I took a tag, I tore it in half, and I stuck it up over there in that upper right-hand corner on my stamping. And I'm going to add some chipboard pieces as well up there. Again, you can't see what I'm doing, but hopefully you'll be able to see in the next section of the video. I am putting some of those decorative brads in various places. I'm using them like enamel dots, and I'm just kind of putting a few here and there. Kind of trying to avoid the ones with pictures like birdhouses and bees and stuff like that on them for this layout. I don't know why, I just was avoiding those, saving them to use with that actual collection that I haven't used either. I'm also going to take this stamp set, and I took the phrase that says, "Here's what I'm growing now," and I'm going to stamp it in two places over there on the left side, and then I'm going to stamp it a third time up there in my other cluster. I am not going for perfect stamping here. It was just kind of a random mixed media thing. It didn't need to be absolutely perfect. Next, I'm going to take these cloud washi strips that are about 6 inches long, and I'm going to tuck them here in one of my layers on my border. I'm going to do it on both sides. Just thought I would bring in that light aqua color there as well, and also use up a couple of these strips. I really have a hard time using these strips. They're not quite 6 inches long, so you can't use them to make an actual border. So I struggle with those, and I should make it a point to stick a pack in every single one of my counterfeit kits, because that way I'd maybe use them. I did stick that tab that says details over on the right hand side above the photo. That is actually going to get moved over to the left hand side. I just stuck in a label over there to add a little bit more layered look on the right hand side left photo grid. And now I'm just kind of playing with things. There I go. I move that tab. That is where that ends up. Over in that upper right hand corner that you really can't see, I have several circles there, and I just didn't like how they looked, and I kind of move those around off camera, and you'll be able to see them at the end of the video. Again, I am so aggravated with myself for not making sure you could see the whole 2-page layout. What a bummer. I pulled out Fabulous from the wood grain, or the wood veneer pieces that I have. I pulled that Yay, and I'm trying to decide where I want to put it, and it does end up kind of where it's at there, but I do move it. Here's a sneak peek of that corner you can't see. All right, I got it completely finished. Pretty happy with the way that this turned out. I took that sketch and I spread it across. I put a lot of layering on the 2 single photos, but I also did a little bit of layering here as well. Hello, Phineas. And I moved some things around off camera. I took this, which was up here, and I moved it over here with the Yay, and I added this summertime phrase chipboard piece that I had pulled out for this layout. I also cut this, this was a loop, and I just cut it and tied it, added this label sticker here for, to write what I was growing, and then I added another piece of that little yellow netting over here because I got it down here, and I kind of wanted to have a piece on both sides. I tried to make sure that we got the blue and the yellow on both sides, and some of the craft was on both sides here with this label. But all in all, I used quite a bit of stuff up from my counterfeit kit, and I got a pretty cute little layout going on here. So I want to thank you for coming to my channel today. I really appreciate those of you who take the time to like, comment, and or subscribe to my channel. You guys are helping me to be successful with this channel, and I am so grateful. If you are not a subscriber and if you would like to be, all you have to do is click that button down below. If you want YouTube to notify you when I put out new content, there's a bell down there. You can click that. And I do put out 2 to 3 videos per week. This is a hobby, and I really love sharing what I do. So I am looking forward to any comments or questions that you might have about this layout. You guys have a great rest of your day. Bye.
I've been tossing all my thoughts off the deep.